Mike.
Happy Tuesday afternoon.
Yes, yeah. So, any update on Storm Duck with the knee?
Yeah. His season will be finished, but then the outside of that, there's nothing beyond day-to-day stuff with guys.
He could or could not have returned yesterday. I know you going with Trader Minka Melanvanu with safety. Could Ashton have returned, or was that to be cautious with his health? And same with Minka. Minka's was late in the game, obviously.
So Ashton was something that he would have. Yeah, he couldn't play in the game. The short week is what's in question for him. So I'll be in short weeks. I operate pessimistically, not based on the athlete, more because for planning purposes. But he'll be day to day, and Minka would have been able to play through the end of the game if the score wasn't what it was.
Mike, how about Eskridge?
So he's another one that's in the day-to-day category. So short weeks are always creative anyway. So we'll see how he comes back on NFL, whatever tomorrow is, Wednesday, Thursday.
The game plan yesterday with the balance was kind of reminiscent of the Buffalo game, like you had referenced earlier in the week, but was an ultimate goal to also, I guess, relieve pressure on Tua, considering what the run game did, sucking the linebackers in.
Well, I think you're taking the complexity of the opponent. What are their strengths and weaknesses? How can you exploit that? There's and where your matchups, and one of the things that Atlanta had done thus far in the season, I think they were ranked top 3 against the pass, and they do a tremendous job of making you hot as a quarterback and all their dropbacks, and I think they give up the least amount of yardage per dropback, so it's a very good pass team. That some of the ways you have to loosen up their coverage is through the ground, and then keeping yourself, how to get our crew to operate, stay on schedule, not hurt themselves. We saw kind of the formula best fit for this opponent, and just in anytime you're able to stay on the field and get those run calls, it has a monumental effect on the outcome of the game if you're able to continue to keep converting third downs and particularly score touchdowns, not field goals. So that I think anytime that you can play complementary football, the ratio, for our run pass gets closer, to the in an ideal world, your 25-30 runs. Any time that we can play complementary football and you don't turn the ball over and you're still able to get points, and accumulate points, particularly with touchdowns. So we were happy to be able to execute. It took the entire team to be able to play that way, and I think we know the formula of what has to go into a game and how prepared we have to be in order for the outcome to be like that. So time of possession is always favorable to the victor. It's not 100%er, but you try to have it as much as possible because that's how you score points.
I know it's a short week, but do you anticipate anyone coming off PUP or injured reserve?
Not this week, no.
Mike, what you guys did yesterday, how repeatable do you think that is, and why?
Well, I think it's as repeatable as all parties involved. I think the main factor is you don't live in yesterday, good or bad. That you are, the formula was that we were prepared for the opponent that we were playing that week and prepared to do our assignments collectively and focused on the ways not to beat ourselves. We didn't have 100 yards and penalties. I think we had four real offensive plays that we kind of hurt ourselves with the legal formation, and then a couple false starts, and then one bust. But that all of those things are kind of what you're focused on, and it comes down to the focus of the given opponent this week. If we focus all of our time, energy, and everything that we're doing attacking the Baltimore Ravens and nobody else, it gives you an opportunity to be able to have a game like that every week, but you have to give yourself the opportunity through preparation. So we've learned a lot as a team through a lot of hard lessons. So I think there was some positive lessons that we learned in how we prepared as well. So it'll be very important that we take it for what it was, and that was a complete and total isolated focus by a team on an opponent, and that's the only chance to replicate that moving forward.
At the risk of getting a sideways look, I know you just said to focus, on the immediate opponent, but do you feel that this team is ready to turn a corner in the big picture here?
I feel that our team will be whatever it allows itself to be, and that is 100% based on the opponent that we're playing. If we start thinking about the big picture, you start losing control of what that big picture is. You have to put one foot in front of the other. You have to understand that it took a lot of labor to get our game in a certain fashion, that we like playing football under those conditions in terms of fast, physical, elite technique, people playing in coordination and making the opponent earn everything they get. That has to be a 1 week mindset, and that's how we got the outcome of that last game. And so the only way that we'd ever be able to assume that we could taste that same victories, we have to go through the same process that we really had to hang our hat on when the results weren't going our way. So the biggest thing is that you have to really lean into the things in reality, what was the root of our success? It was sweat equity and focus, commitment, conviction, all of those things that are derived through preparation, which I will be non-negotiably searching for in all the hours leading up to this next game.
When you get an early lead and you're able to run the ball as much as you did yesterday, what's the advantage to you of using all three backs as you did? Is it partly being able to put Devon out some in the slot, use him as a receiver? Do you think giving them a mix of Ollie and Jalen and Devon wears teams down? What's the biggest upside to you of using all three?
I think the biggest upside is the different ball carriers defenders have to tackle. I think that's an underrated. You have a little change up in just body makeup, size, conviction. It's a different target. It's a different in-hole speed. It's a different tackle. That in combination with having the player with the ball in his hands being as fresh as he can possibly be, I think you get a lot of bang for your buck if you're able to distribute the ball amongst all of your eligibles, specifically your running backs. That takes I think we had 71 offensive snaps and 37 or something runs, and so you're able to have everybody get a taste and a little momentum and make defenders tackle the different body types and the different players that overall with a talented backfield, you're trying to get those guys the ball anyway. So it works to our overall benefit. I feel like if we can get those guys touches for sure.
Over the past, let's call it 2 months, what have been some signs to you inside the building that let you know that the team, the players in it, in the locker room haven't quit? They're still fighting.
Well, I think there's it's most evident when there's growth in your game without results, and then if you have as a team, we had a monumental step back for a week, so you'll learn everything you need to know following a month or so straight of pushing through some hardship. And I think throughout the week the people didn't have to tell me where their mind was at or who they were as people on this team. They showed me each and every moment, and so I think I wasn't surprised that the effort and the conviction were there in the game. Obviously as coaches, we'd hoped we could put a game together like that sooner. But beggars can't be choosers. You just work, try to improve, and then you take what your lessons are and understand that teams are either getting better or they're getting worse, and there's only one way or only one direction you really want to be a part of. So we're continuing to work, and they've shown me every day where their minds are at by how they operate in the building.
Like, how is Tua's eye? Is that episode over, or does he still need treatment this week?
Yeah, outside of, it really wasn't. It was a blip on my radar. I don't really. I guess it was an eye issue, I'd call it. What does that mean? He has a built-in Halloween costume for sure. Outside of that, I think, it's not really on my radar. There's medicines delivered by people that are responsible for that, and I'm assuming he'll have either no visor on or a visor on. He'll throw with his left hand. I know that much.
There's a little bit of uncertainty regarding the Ravens quarterback situation. Safe to say, we'll prepare for both guys.
Yeah. It's safe to say that we will be very. I think you have to, as a coach, assume that the All-Pro is going to play, and then we're very aware of the players that are the contingencies, and Snoop did a great job as he led our team last year. He inspired or led an inspired crew to victory, so we know what he's capable of. But I think you got to prepare for the All-Pro, so you're not surprised on game day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.